everyone, I'm Melanie Foxcroft from MF Consulting, and I'm back with Martin Creer from Tech Genius. What they usually do with their clients in a meeting is they have a 1-hour free brainstorming session. And I'd like Martin to just elaborate on what usually happens and what is the process that happens after that. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Melanie. So yes, our first meeting with the client is the way we start is just to understand the client's world. Where are they? Where are they going? What are they trying to achieve? What are the pain points? And this is usually just the introductory discussion, getting to know the industry, the business, etc. And while we're talking, we like to do mind mapping. So mind mapping is pretty much a combination of brainstorming on whiteboards. So because of the new normal, we actually use Zoom a lot, and we just use, we'll scribble little pictures and paints when we're just discussing concepts. But when things become more concrete and we're actually talking about, documenting what the client is telling us, then we'll use little mind maps. It's lovely for putting concepts down, moving them around. And it's always, to me, very interesting how the mind map looks very different at the beginning of the meeting than at the end of the meeting, where it's sort of figuring out how we're going to structure things and whatever. So that's sort of the process that we follow.
So Martin, what is the usual process for introducing business process automation in normal cases?
Yes, so I like to scribble almost like on a whiteboard when I'm explaining things. So I hope you don't mind if I just quickly share my screen with you.
Absolutely.
So I'm just going to start screen sharing this side. Can you see what I'm seeing?
Yes.
So please excuse, I mean, my little drawings looks like drawings of a 5-year-old, but it's just quick and easy to explain things with drawings instead of just talking about it. So what most businesses have in common is, everybody's got a target market. So there are a lot of people out there you would like to sell to. And what you're trying to do is trying to raise awareness of your products and services and trying to get people interested. So that's your marketing process. That's how you basically get people to, that's the process of getting people to try and make contact with you, or your sales actually being proactive and identifying leads and contacting them. So now you're starting with the next step in the process where people start to get interested in their leads. So you get a lot of leads, and now you're trying to nurture these leads, and you're trying to qualify them, trying to identify who of these people are actually potential customers. So these leads could include people trying to contact you and actually try and sell things to you. It could be spammers, it could be, or there could be real clients, or there could be people who don't really understand your product and services who actually does. So that's part of the qualification process. So now it's almost like a funnel. So you're taking those leads, and what you're trying to get to is basically to opportunities. So these are qualified leads that could potentially become customers, and then you want to try and convince them to become clients of you. So eventually it leads to a deal, and you've got new clients basically. So now you've got new clients, so now what? The next step obviously is that you want to deliver products or services to them. So you pretty much, if your client's over there, you want to deliver a product or a service to that customer. And by delivering a great product or service experience, client experience, they become recurring customers, and they will also refer other customers. So there you get more leads and opportunities again. So this process that we mentioned is pretty much a sales process. So a lot of businesses will try and automate this sales process with something that's most people have heard about it, something called a CRM system. So a CRM system is just an abbreviation for customer relationship management system. So the main purpose of CRM system is to help you with the tracking of conversion from leads to deals, basically leads to opportunities and opportunities to deals. So that's one area that you could automate with a CRM system. So a lot of people get very focused on, buying expensive, high-end CRM systems. Yes. and then they blow their entire automation budget, for example, on a CRM system, and they put no focus on the operational side of the business, which is actually so important in giving a great customer experience, which will then lead to recurring business and also people referring more business to you. And that's actually quite a
Absolutely.
sad, yeah, and that's a very sad mistake that a lot of businesses do. So,
yes. Costly mistake as well.
yes, and it's also, the other reason why it's also sad is people tend to go for great featured CRMs, which has a huge amount of features in them. And I don't know about you, but I still need to meet the salesman who loves doing admin.
Absolutely.
So the challenge is that with a CRM system, what often happens is you're giving additional admin to salespeople who don't enjoy doing admin. So, so where we sort of shine is with this operations automation. Because often a business can't just go like a CRM, you buy an off-the-shelf CRM system and you have it. It really depends on what kind of product you're offering, what kind of service you're offering. And it's much more, it needs to be customized around the specific, solution, and every business is unique. So your system will probably be unique as well.
So tell us how you shine.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the whole thing about, as I just mentioned, is that operational process is not just a, one size fits all, you can have any car as long as it's black kind of scenario. So step one is for me to put myself in the shoes of the business owner and try and as quickly as possible understand their world, understand how their processes work, and to map this. So we do this with a mind map, as I mentioned. So the first document that we generate is called a user story, or it's also sometimes referred to as a user requirement specification. So while I'm talking to the business owner, we're mapping the processes, understanding, and the level of detail depends. In the first meeting, it's more of understanding the context. What kind of products do they have? What's the process of delivering the products or the services, etc. What are the challenge areas? So that's a starting point. So the other thing that we also draw up is a flow chart of the business processes, which is also great for understanding, it's nice and visual. So it's a visualization, visual diagram of what happens in what order. And then after that's pretty much what we'll touch upon in our first meeting. And then I also usually can make a few recommendations in the first meeting. What would be the solution be? Could it potentially be a software application, a web application, a web app? Would it be a progressive web app or just a normal, more standardized website? Would it be a mobile application, desktop software? It really. So I could sort of give and just sort of highlight to the customer the pros and cons of each option, which might be applicable, which not. So that's a starting point for the first meeting. And then sometimes I can make an estimate in terms of, how many hours we'll spend to complete all the specification documents. But it just gives the customer that peace of mind of what can we do in an hour and with an hour's effort, and then we'll give them an idea what can we do in 5 or 10 hours of our time.
Well, Martin, that's very enlightening. I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate a 1-hour brainstorming meeting with you guys and to understand the process better, especially if you come in cold and you don't understand business process automation and how it can affect or benefit your business. So, Martin, thank you once again for this enlightening conversation. I hope that we can touch on more things next time. And from my side, stay tuned and stay safe. And don't forget to visit techgenius.co.za.